Juanita, by Kate Chopin. To all appearances, and according to all accounts, Juanita is a character who does not reflect credit upon her family or her native town of Rock Springs. I first met her there 3 years ago in the little back room behind her father's store. She seemed very shy and inclined to efface herself, a heroic feat to attempt, considering the narrow confines of the room, and a hopeless one, in view of her 5'10" and more than 200 pounds of substantial flesh, which, on that occasion and every subsequent one when I saw her, was clad in a soiled calico Mother Hubbard. Her face, and particularly her mouth, had a certain fresh and sensuous beauty, though I would rather not say beauty if I might say anything else. I often saw Juanita that summer, simply because it was so difficult for the poor thing not to be seen. She usually sat in some obscure corner of their small garden, or behind an angle of the house, preparing vegetables for dinner or sorting her mother's flower seed. It was even at that day said, with some amusement, that Juanita was not so unattractive to men as her appearance might indicate, that she had more than one admirer, and great hopes of marrying well, if not brilliantly. Upon my return to the Springs this summer, in asking news of the various persons who had interested me 3 years ago, Juanita came naturally to my mind, and her name to my lips. There were many ready to tell me of Juanita's career since I had seen her. The father had died, and she and the mother had had ups and downs, but still continued to keep the store. Whatever else happened, however, Juanita had never ceased to attract admirers, young and old. They hung on her fence at all hours. They met her in the lanes. They penetrated to the store and back to the living room. It was even talked about that a gentleman in a plaid suit had come all the way from the city by train for no other purpose than to call upon her. It was not astonishing, in the face of these persistent attentions, that speculations grew rife in Rock Springs as to whom and what Juanita would marry in the end. For a while she was said to be engaged to a wealthy South Missouri farmer, though no one could guess when or where she had met him. Then it was learned that the man of her choice was a Texas millionaire who possessed 100 white horses, one of which spirited animals Juanita began to drive about that time. But in the midst of speculation and counter-speculation on the subject of Juanita and her lovers, there suddenly appeared upon the scene a one-legged man, a very poor and shabby and decidedly one-legged man. He first became known to the public through Juanita's soliciting subscriptions towards buying the unhappy individual a cork leg. Her interest in the one-legged man continued to show itself in various ways, not always apparent to a curious public, as was proven one morning when Juanita became the mother of a baby, whose father, she announced, was her husband, the one-legged man. The story of a wandering preacher was told, a secret marriage in the state of Illinois, and a lost certificate. However that may be, Juanita has turned her broad back upon the whole race of masculine bipeds, and lavishes the wealth of her undivided affections upon the one-legged man. I caught a glimpse of the curious couple when I was in the village. Juanita had mounted her husband upon a dejected-looking pony, which she herself was apparently leading by the bridle, and they were moving up the lane towards the woods, whither, I am told, they often wander in this manner. The picture which they presented was a singular one, she with a man's big straw hat shading her inflamed moon face, and the breeze bellying her soiled Mother Hubbard into monstrous proportions. He, puny, helpless, but apparently content with his fate, which had not even vouchsafed him the coveted cork leg. They go off thus to the woods together, where they may love each other away from all prying eyes, save those of the birds and squirrels. But what do the squirrels care? For my part, I never expected Juanita to be more respectable than a squirrel, and I don't see how anyone else could have expected it.